Welcome to The Real in Real Estate, your gateway to the source. I'm so glad you're here. We're all about diving into the nitty-gritty of real estate, sharing insights, tips, and some awesome interviews straight from the industry's beating heart. From the latest trends to cool investment strategies, we've got you covered. Let's explore and uncover all the essential tools and knowledge you need for navigating the ever-evolving world of property and housing. Here we go. Welcome to another episode of The Real in Real Estate. Today, we're talking with Lori Pace, who is the owner and manager of a social media company here in the Tomball area. So first of all, Lori is the proud creator and owner of ADIM Media, located in Tomball. ADIM Media offers full marketing services to small to medium-sized businesses. Lori is very active in the Greater Tomball Chamber of Commerce and in the Greater Houston Business Association, Builders Association. Sorry about that. So hi, Lori, welcome.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. That, of course, social media is the buzzword now, right? Everybody needs social media.
Yes.
And just for full disclosure, people, I hired Lori to do my social media because it's not my strength, and we should all do our strengths and hire people that know more than we do about other things. So first of all, I just wanted to ask you, how did you get into this business? What led you here?
So it was sort of accidental. I was actually a stockbroker in my previous life and got married, started having children, was realizing that I was not seeing my children at all. And so I started staying home. And during that, I decided to start writing, which was a passion of mine back in high school. And that morphed into a blog that went national called ADIM.motherhood.com.
Wow.
And I got clients like Disney and Tyson and Chevy and all these clients that I was running all over the place and taking the kids on all these great adventures. But then I noticed that there was sort of a shift. The blogging industry was becoming very saturated. And so I started to look at other avenues. And about that time, I had a current client of mine call and say, hey, we'd like to see if you can do our social media. And I said, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I know how to do mine, but I don't know if I know how to do a business's. And that was almost 9 years ago. They're still clients. And from that, I just sort of built on it and created ADIM Media, which is short for A Day in Motherhood. And and so here I am. Here I am now.
Well, that's fantastic. I didn't know what that stood for. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, so give us a layman's definition, I guess, of social media management and marketing.
So what you would expect for social media management, first and foremost, is brand awareness. People to know you exist. It is increasingly difficult to solely rely on just regular social media posts to get your business moving. So management also includes advertising, buying real estate space on social media, so to speak. And so the management and the maintenance of social media is twofold. It's the content, which goes out to the people that are seeing your page organically. And then it's the ads that allow people that would not normally find you to see you in their feed. So the entire process has everything, starts with imagery, video, text, conversation, and then it sort of winds down into these ads that pinpoint and target where you want to be and who you want to hear from. And it is not a quick process, but it is a process that does work, is what we've discovered over the years. It does work. It just takes a lot of time and energy, a lot of reading, a lot of nighttime reading about what Facebook is doing today, that kind of thing.
It changes a lot from what I understand.
It changes almost daily. We partner for Google services, but even Google made a major change at the beginning of this year. And we have clients that have Google services through our partner, and they're having quite an interesting time trying to navigate through that. And it feels a lot like Facebook. Every time they make a change, it's a whole new learning curve.
Okay, who is your customer? I know you said small to medium businesses, but who do you work with, or who do you enjoy working with? Or I know you'd work with anybody that was interested, right?
Yes. I mean, we have about 48 social media clients, and they're in all different industries. We do have a sort of a specialty niche in construction and construction vendors. We have remodelers, we have home builders, we have a drywall company that just came on yesterday, actually. So we do have sort of a specialty niche in that. However, we also have boutiques, we have restaurants, we have car dealerships, we have jewelry companies, we have all kinds of people. And we we really love working with people who are either starting out or in business or who are struggling with their marketing for their small to medium sized business. We do have a couple of companies that are huge, massive, $100 million plus profit companies, but the majority of ours land somewhere between $1 million and $5 million a year. Although I will tell you, I have a soft spot for companies that are just starting up, just trying to build their platforms, just trying to get their voice heard. I really love to watch companies start from sort of idea and grow into something that's actually making money for the owner.
That's the mom and the nurturer in you.
Yes, it is.
But that's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
Well, I realized a long time ago that there are a ton of companies that'll work with really wealthy companies. But there are not a lot of marketing companies that will offer full services to the smaller businesses at a price they can afford.
Right.
A lot of companies are charging $10, $15, $20,000 a month, and I can't afford that. I don't know a lot of people who can. So that was one of my big sort of rock when I put together sort of the things that I want to be the base of this business, is I really wanted to be able to help people that did not have a huge budget but had a huge idea. And so that's sort of what we've built ourselves on.
I love that. Not a huge budget, but a huge idea. Wonderful, wonderful. Tell me a little bit more about the services you offer. I know you offer lots of different things and lots of different avenues.
Yeah, what's really interesting is ADIM Media was social media only up until about 2.5 years ago. So after COVID, I had some money in the bank because it was just me working in the company, basically doing crisis management for a year while everybody navigated COVID. And so I decided that I could do one of two things with 3 preteen daughters. Now they're all teenagers. Is I could just do what I was doing and live the lifestyle I was living and just have some part-time help here or there. Or I could take that money and buy a building in Tomball, which I did, and expand my services and hire talent that knows how to do the things that I don't necessarily know how to do start to finish. So about 2.5 years ago, we added websites. We added graphic design. We added photography and videography. We do email marketing. We do promo products, all that good stuff. And then we do partner with somebody for Google services. Google really is a specialty. And I found that being a specialist in social media and Google at the same time was very taxing and stressful and exhausting. So I partnered with a company I trust for the Google stuff, and then we handle the social and the marketing stuff.
Perfect, perfect. And you've also ventured into podcasts.
I have. We've learned.
Here we are.
There you are. We actually have another one. We have one that we've been doing for a little while. So we were so excited when you came on with yours. That one is a radio show, and we've seen really, really good results. And through that, working with them, we've gotten to really understand how to market podcasts. And so even you can see in your numbers when we post something about your podcast, just organically, it does better. Because that's what people are doing now. They're sitting in traffic, listening to podcasts and getting educated through intelligent voices that really know what they're talking about.
That's exactly what I did, because as a realtor, I travel a lot. I'm always in the car, and you can only hear that song so many times without getting bored, or falling asleep. And someone had mentioned podcasts to me, and of course they were talking about mysteries and all these other things. Long story short, I found podcasts that interested me, things about business, things about whatever the interest is. And it's amazing. I've learned so much by listening to the podcast, and I'm entertained, and it makes the drive much shorter. I love it.
And one of my favorite things is I feel like I'm learning something that I would not normally have time to sit down and learn, because I have very few hours in the day that I can sit down and read a business article anymore. I mean, it's very, very late at night when I'm scrolling through, Facebook business, trying to figure out what they're doing. But podcasts are a great way, especially for me, if I'm traveling for my kids' sports, I can sit there and listen in the car, and I can learn something that I didn't know before, nor would I have ever known if I hadn't had somebody telling me about it while I was technically in my downtime.
Yeah. And if I sit down and read at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, I read for like 5 minutes, and then I wake up an hour later realizing I just fell asleep.
Yeah. And you're like, why is my phone sitting up by my ear? I don't understand what's happening. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
In there.
So podcasts have saved me on the road for sure.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. Why would someone choose your company? There's got to be a lot of social media marketing management companies out there. What makes you special? I know what makes you special, but
So many things. We
Too
can ask
many.
my therapist.
We don't have time. We don't have time to go through all of them. Just pick one or two.
Okay. I think the biggest thing is I talked about those rocks, and one of the biggest rock that shadows everything is customer service. I tell my team at least every week or two, if you make a mistake, own up to it. Period. The end. There are no excuses. Just
Move on.
own up to it, fix it, move on.
Yeah.
Because every mistake is an opportunity to learn. And every human has the opportunity to forgive if you make a mistake, but they don't, you compound it when you come up with excuses.
Exactly.
So my biggest thing is when my clients call, I want to be able to answer the phone. I want to be able to answer their emails fairly quickly. I want to be able to respond to their texts. I want to answer their questions. And I have learned that everything can be worked through with conversation and communication.
That's
And
key.
it's key. I mean, it's the same in your industry, right? I mean,
Yes.
you can go look at all kinds of houses, but if you don't listen to what they really want, then
Right.
you're never going to find the house that they want, and it's just going to add stress to the entire situation.
To everybody. Yeah.
And yet you have to listen to the little things. And personally that I do love meeting people in person.
Yes.
Because it sounds old school in this digital world that I live in, but the inflection of someone's voice, the look on their face, the raise of their eyebrow tells you a lot more about how they're communicating
than body language.
Yeah, than sitting over a phone or even, text. Yeah. And so I'm a big proponent in customer service. And if I have to have 5 meetings in a day because 5 clients want to sit and discuss things, then I'm going to have 5 meetings in a day. I mean, it's just the way I do it. And I think there are many social media companies. I do know several people who own companies that are all virtual, and their number one complaint is the client doesn't understand what I'm saying. They're just not getting it. And I'm like, well, that's probably because you haven't spoken to them in person.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the biggest things that makes me different is I'm still very old school in the way that I communicate with people. And I try very hard to make sure that I'm listening to what they say and not talking over what they're trying to say.
Yeah, it's better to listen than to talk if you really want to know what's going on. It's our motto at my real estate company is service, sincerity, and satisfaction. It sounds like you have the same.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and I think that's why you and I work together too. And that's one of the things also that I think sets me apart. I say no more than I say yes. If I don't feel like I have the expertise to help you, if I don't feel like I'm going to be able to understand what you're trying to do, I will generally refer you to another marketing company. And I think that's something that's just different. Most people will try to just fit you in and get you in there and try to do it. And I just don't believe in that. I think marketing is personal. And I just like real estate. It's very personal for you to help people find a home, right?
Absolutely.
And I feel the same way. Yeah, I feel the same way. So, I mean, they're bringing me on as a partner for their dream. And it's my responsibility to make sure that I am taking care of that dream as well as they are.
Oh, I love that. A partner for their dreams. Oh my goodness, I can see why you were a writer. I'm picking up all these one-liners. They're great. I got to remember them.
Just write them all down.
Yeah.
Send them to me so I can remember them if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, we'll have somebody take notes from this podcast.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay. What about the areas you work? As realtors, yes, you could sell in Dallas, but you don't know Dallas. So if we're being ethical, we don't work every single aspect of the state. Right. What areas, and I don't know if this applies to you since you're media, but do you have a certain area of town you work in or anywhere? What?
So Tomball is home base. And I am very active in the Tomball community through the Tomball Chamber, which is how I met you. Yes. I love, just like we talked about meeting face to face, I love talking to people face to face. So the closer they are to Tomball, the easier it is for me to develop that relationship quickly, whether they work with me or not, just to develop the relationship. Right. I do also go out to Magnolia. I will go into Cypress. I will go anywhere in Northwest Houston. I do have a couple of national clients. Their marketing needs are slightly different than somebody who's trying to get leads or trying to get sales. My national clients that I work really well with are just simply brand awareness. They're not looking for leads. They're not looking for they're not looking to connect with a person. What they want is somebody to go, like maybe they work with bid systems. Like a lot of construction companies aren't going to find their $1 million building on Facebook. No one's going to text and say, hey, come build me a building. It's $50 million. They're going to go through a bid system and through a process. But when they're going through that bid system and the customer, their end user is looking at who to hire, if they go online and they find nothing out about that company, then there's a reputation break.
Yeah.
And so by having brand awareness for those companies, they can look and say, oh, they are active. They've done these jobs. They've done this kind of work. This is who they are. We trust them more because they have a digital presence. But as far as trying to get sales and leads and, trying to really work with somebody to help them grow their business, I tend to work generally in the Tomball and Northwest Houston area.
Tell us and that's up to you whether you give names or not, but without giving names, tell us about a success story that you've had with the marketing that you've done. I know you have more than one, just pick one.
I know. Well, are we successful in leads? Are we successful in sales? So one of
a baby client that you worked with, and now they're just doing fabulous.
Well, I've got a couple. My first one that I'll mention is they're a spray foam company called Inscoat.
Okay.
They are fabulous. Ben Southard and Jason Southard are the owners. When they came to me, they were sort of starting out. They were maybe around $1 million a year, maybe a little more. I'm trying to remember exactly what the numbers were, but they were really looking to grow. And we started doing their marketing. And they've been with us about 2 years, I think. And I want to say they did about 12 million this year.
Whoa.
So they are growing exponentially. They are so happy that they had an article, they were featured, they sprayed Kyle Field in College Station. They did all the installation there.
Oh, wow.
And they were so happy that they actually mentioned us in that article in their Spray Foam magazine. So that was really nice. And
That's
then just yesterday, Ben, one of the owners, took me to another company, and the guy signed on the dotted line based on Ben's recommendation. And so I would say that they're very happy with our services, and we're very happy to work with them. And we love stuff like that, where people start out and are like, well, I'm not really sure what to do. And then they come on, and then 2 years later, they're seeing real results.
Well, let me ask you another question, because I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. And so if somebody can do something better than I can, I certainly want them to do that. But a lot of people think that, I can post anything on Facebook. I don't know why I'd have to hire somebody. Why would I want to spend the money? Why would I want to hire you?
So yes, it looks so easy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we get up every day and we're like, oh, this is what I'm drinking for breakfast, drinking coffee. Let's post my coffee and people will love that. Well, yeah, they might. But is it people that will use your services? Facebook is run by a computer. The humans that work at Facebook are there to make sure the computer is doing what it's supposed to do. And the computer is so advanced that sometimes they're just solving the problems that the computer caused. I mean, that's just the reality.
Okay.
So when you think about posting on Facebook, you think about working with a computer system, an algorithm. Google has the same type of thing where they're going to rank you based on your keywords and how your website's built and all these good things. Facebook is going to, so for instance, I'll give you a good example of working with a computer. So my car dealership client, we've had them for 8-9 years now, and they have about 10,000 followers on Facebook. And when I first started, they're like, oh, I need so many followers. I need so many followers. And I said, well, actually, you don't need followers. You need engagement. You need people to talk to you, because if 5,000 people out of that 10,000 talk to you, those 5,000 could become potential customers. Whereas we know that all 10,000 are not walking into your door, right? They know some are just looking and shopping and whatever. Well, they pulled up another account with another car dealership on the other side of town that had 100,000 followers. And they're like, well, why can't we be like them? And I said, well, let's do some comparative analysis. Your dealership is reaching, 200,000 people in the Tomball and surrounding area, and your engagement rate's probably about 6%. The average on Facebook is around 2 to 3%. So we thought we were doing pretty well, right? So all their posts have likes and comments, and I mean, not a ton, but you can see people engaging. The one that had 100,000 likes, or 100,000 people that followed them, had 0 likes on any posts.
Oh,
0 engagement. So the computer doesn't care how many people follow you. They care how many people engage with you. And so when people think, oh, I can just go post every day and it's going to be great, that's great. And you will have some organic reach, and your personal post will always do better than your business or your sales post. But if you're not finagling the algorithm, if you're not working with the way that the algorithm works, that growth potential stops. There's just no way to grow. Now, there are realtors and there are boutiques and things like that that have really interactive owners and really interactive people. They do really creative stuff, and they build their base off their friends. and they do fine. They get exactly what they want from that. But
Right.
if you're looking to really dive deep into new audiences and you're looking to reach new people, that algorithm has a lot to do with it. And posting every day is just posting every day. And so, as you know, every campaign that we do, we buy the real estate on Facebook to help, because it's just like Starbucks. You go into Starbucks, you buy a bunch of coffee, you get a bunch of stars, eventually you get a free Starbucks.
Yes.
You go to Facebook and you utilize all the tools that they have to offer, including their ads, including their scheduler, including all of these things. They reward you by giving you more organic growth and making your ads go further at less cost. But if you don't know that, then posting every day doesn't do much good, because you're not doing anything to show them that you're utilizing their tools to help you grow. Does that make any sense at all?
Yes, yes.
Good.
And
Good.
correct me if I'm wrong, but the engagement, people engaging in what you're posting has to be reciprocated. You have to reply. I mean, you need to interact with them, not just them commenting on your,
Right.
correct?
Yeah. I mean, generally you want to be sure you're liking comments and responding to comments fairly quickly, within a couple of hours of them coming in. But engagement on Facebook includes a lot of things. And one thing that generally that can surprise people is if you're scrolling on your phone and you stop scrolling to do something else, or if you stop to read a caption, Facebook tracks that. That's considered an interaction. Just the fact that they stopped on your post. I guess that's sophisticated. Yeah. So that plus comments, plus shares, plus likes, all that stuff goes into your engagement. People say all the time, well, how do I get people to share? That's sort of liquid gold on Facebook. It's hard. You can't buy someone's share. So that really is just communication and engagement with others. So if you want people to share and engage with you, you have to go share and engage with them.
There's a podcast that I listen to. The host is Marky Lemons, who's in real estate. And I don't know if she came up with this or got this from someone else, but she has a thing with her agents, 8x8, meaning I want you to interact with at least 8 people before 8 a.m. Of course, some of us, I get up way before that. Some of them don't. But anyway, early in the morning, at least 8 people interact with. And that doesn't mean necessarily just doing a happy face. It means direct messaging or commenting on their posts, but actually engaging with them to grow your clientele, so that you're not just posting and waiting for someone to talk to you.
Yeah.
Is that kind of your philosophy?
Yeah. I mean, I tell people, social media was created to be social in a larger package, so we've taken our meetings and boardrooms with potential new customers, and we've given them the ability to be online. And you don't sit in a board meeting. I mean, depending on your board meeting, right? But most people don't sit in any type of sales meeting and are quiet. You have to engage with the other person. And so we have to think of social media as that interactive board meeting that's now been taken online. So the more you engage with other people, the more you talk to other people, the more they will engage with you, the more they will talk to you.
Okay. All right. So, what else do we need to know about ADIM? I love that. Another day in motherhood. That's
A day in motherhood.
Yeah.
You can go read all about my pre ADIM media life and see all my children as babies. Tons of articles.
I'll have to look that up. I will. Lori Pace, ADIM.
Right.
What else do we need to know about you or ADIM that I haven't asked about, or people are surprised when they find out what you do or how you do it? Or
I think what's the thing that really baffles me is people are most surprised that we are all female. And I get comments all the time, why don't you have a man in your office? It was not on purpose. I promise it was not on purpose. I have hired men in the past. It just has not worked out. But I find it fascinating because, there are a lot of creative people out there, but social media is a multitasking, based industry. You have to be able, it is very fast paced. You have to be able to do a lot of things in one day. Very rarely do we have days that we just sit behind our computer and work on one thing. There's always something going on. And women, as we know in society, are generally the multitaskers.
yes.
And so I find it fascinating when people are like, well, don't you want a guy to come in there? And I'm like, well, I would. I'd love to find a really creative guy and get a different perspective and get somebody who's, is dedicated to marketing, and this company, as the rest of us are. I just haven't found one yet. I don't get a lot of interviews with men, but it does surprise me when people say, "Oh, you're a 100% female." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, because we're the ones that can come in." I mean, 48 clients and 6 employees. That's a lot of multitasking in a day.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that's fantastic that
Yeah.
you're all female, I think.
People either love it or they question it. And I'm like, it is just the way it is. I
It
did
is
not
what it is. Yeah, it is what it
It was
is.
not planned. Yeah.
Well, I know I have certainly enjoyed working with you and the ladies that work with you. And we've only known each other a short time, but it has been so much fun. And you've introduced me to so many people, and I've grown so much. Just, I still will never try to do what you do, but I've learned a lot.
Well, hopefully you start to see the benefits of what we do, sooner than later. I know you've seen some, but I'd like to get it.
Yes.
You know me, I'm very motivated to get those good leads coming
Oh,
constantly.
we're gonna get there. That's
But it has been a complete honor meeting you. Aside from what a phenomenal real estate agent you are, and I do find you to be very, very well versed, very
thank you.
intelligent. And I'm not just saying that because you're a client. I actually believe that. I've worked with realtors in the past that I'm like, oh, they just showed up, and then they showed up at the signing, and I actually found my last 3 houses because my agent would just like disappear.
Oh
So,
my.
but then he'd show up
No.
at the closing with a big smile on his face.
Yeah,
right?
no, you
So,
can't get rid of us that easily.
yeah, exactly. And so that's one of the things I think I like working with you the most is we sort of have the same mindset that if you don't communicate and you don't listen, you can't do a good job. And
No.
Yeah.
And I like making sure everybody has the facts, the information, which is one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast, because you can't, you can ask me about doing a loan or ask me about social media. You're not going to get that great an answer, but I know how to refer you to the people that do know the right answer. And
Yeah.
I think that's very important. I'm not going to pretend to know something I don't know.
Exactly. Somebody said something to me a while ago. They said that I was a connector, and I think
You
you're a
are.
connector.
Yeah.
But I think you are too, because we're not afraid to say, hey, we can't handle that. Here's somebody who can.
Yes.
And a lot of people are like, well, let me try because I really want to, keep this client. I don't want to give them away. I'm more than happy to connect and get them the services that they need. And that goes for every industry at any time.
Well, Lori, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me and to everyone else today. I really appreciate it. And maybe in the future, we'll come back on and check in with you, see what else you're doing that you've added to your repertoire.
No problem. It is an absolute honor. Thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to The Real in Real Estate, your gateway to the source. Be sure not to miss our upcoming episodes loaded with fantastic insights, expert tips, and all the latest trends in the property scene. Don't forget to stay connected with us on our Trilogy Realty Group socials: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and even TikTok. Until next time, take care.